Well, I think we're up and going. We have a slight lag and slight delay. It's about a one minute delay. It looks like. Um, there's not a whole lot I can do about that. Oh, we got a slate in, slate out. I don't know what that's all about. And add insertion and I guess they're allowing me to go a little farther with my broadcasting because I've got it done. So I have some extra buttons that have been added to my control panel and create a highlight and add insertion and slates insertion. I'm not sure what any of that stuff is. I've been working pretty hard to try to get this working for you guys so you could, you know, obviously I'm not Walter Concrete or Mickey Spillane or Steven Spielberg or anything like that. I really got no idea what I'm doing. If I had a little bit of help with this, that might work. But I want to talk about, let's go to watch on the live page so I can see the chat. Please type in your questions. And as always, I can read them. Now, I'm watching the forum and I'm seeing people talking about Model Aviation magazine. And I just got mine today. And it makes a wonderful, wonderful epoxy mixing station. So I got a new one of these today. Um, let's talk about what's going on here. What is this? Help us build a found. Enter to win. Oh, so we got tickets or whatever here. I thought this was the cover because my last Model Aviation had the same cover on it. But it doesn't matter because I just use it as the epoxy mixing station anyway. And inside this magazine, the only good article in this magazine was written by Fred Cornwett of St. Louis and Lafayette Escadrille. And there's some of my buddies in there. There's Frank Beatty and John Brodak's in here and Ed Mason. If you haven't seen Ed Mason's Constellation or his I guess it's a B-29 or 52. I don't know what it is exactly. That looks like a B-29. Those are really something else. And what I wanted to talk about as far as the articles in this magazine is the only guys that are responsible for this magazine are us. We have to write the articles. But however, I think this is dead. I think this way of reading material or getting information is basically gone. I think the next evolution of this of model aviation, as far as the information goes, is right here. It's going to be live streaming and video and what have you. So I'm glad that I'm part of the new wave. I just wish I knew more. And we're going to start about details here in a minute. I want to make sure we're up and going. Live stream. And I'm going to take this out and we're going to make sure this is working. And let's check it. And yeah, it's working. So I need to bump this up. And so I need to reply and bump. Control or it's exit and post. Anyway, ask your questions here. We had quite a crowd last night. I mean, not a huge crowd, but it was nonetheless kind of fun. Some Canadians and some people from all over the country. Anyway, let's look through the magazine. We got a few minutes before people start filtering in, I'm sure. There's quite a bit of quadcopter crap in here, and I don't like it, but there's not a whole lot we're going to do. We're going to have to live with these guys somehow. I think the AMA is making a huge mistake getting involved, getting us in, up with this. Anyway, what I did is I ordered some canopies. I got one more canopy coming, and we're building a P-47 Thunderbolt, and this is a P-47 Thunderbolt canopy. However, it's just too big. It's absolutely huge. And I'm not sure that it would look right. So this is a P-51 RC canopy from Tower Hobby. And I'll give you the part number on that. It's a really nice canopy. It's a GPMA 2623. It's a 1/12 Mustang ARF canopy. However, it doesn't look like the Mustang canopy that I got from Brodak, and it fits beautiful. So I'm probably going to use this canopy, and I'm just going to reshape the lines. We're going to come down this way, and maybe I'll change this line here to more look like my plastic model that I have here. Now this is, I don't know why or where or how much I spent on this. Back when I made money, I probably spent quite a bit on this plastic model in 04 and 05 when I was making good money. And I wanted this model because it has all the rivet lines, the panel lines, and all the rivets and the scale details. This is 100% scale. So what I thought about doing, now this is just a thought, and you guys will probably laugh at me or whatever, is this model has bombs and a drop tank and some rockets on it. Now I'm not sure I'm going to put rockets on my model, nor am I, I don't know. But I thought because this is an electric model and I'm going to be flying it in the sports scale, or not sports scale, but fun scale events, I could make the bombs and rockets and the machine guns and all that stuff, and with only four 440 bolts on the underside of the wing, I could make these removable. So when I'm flying stunt, I could unscrew them and just take them off, and then when I'm flying sports scale, I could screw them on and put them on. And I think I'm going to do that. I think that's going to be a slick idea. But I use little references like this for the details. I do a lot of searching on the internet for different pictures, photographs when I'm building a semi-scale airplane that I want to represent. And in this case, I bought a plastic airplane. Now, the model that I'm building is not, I think it was a D, I'm not sure, that has this piece on the back, but we're not going with that. and the antenna. I don't know how crazy I want to get with my stunt airplane, but I'm going to use this and kind of try to duplicate what we have here. So I thought I would just touch on that a little bit. Now, all in the details had to do, I've been talking about the steaming of parts. And we had some kind of issues with the Mustang, or yeah, with the P-51, that the cowl would not fit any longer because it had warped. Well, unfortunately, I didn't get a video made of the actual steaming. However, I did get the parts fixed in steam, so that'll make everybody happy, I'm sure. And I'll show you that here in a second. I want to put this piece away. I want to get this out of the way. And we're going to work on the Mustang a little bit. Now, I sanded on it today quite a bit, but there's still quite a bit more to do. I haven't worked on this at all. I just kind of taped it together to see what she'd look like when I got this canopy in the mail today. But I really like this canopy, and it wasn't real expensive. It was like $8 or whatever. So, that's a good deal. So now I have two canopies to choose from, and I got another canopy coming, and we'll see what happens. I had also kind of sanded on the bottom of the rudder. I took 1/8 of an inch off the front and 1/8 of an inch off the bottom so that it would glue solidly on the elevators on this, and I also slit the backbone. So, I mean, I'm basically thinking what the details are. You got to think things out. So that's where we are with this. This is 10 ounces, what I have here now. So we're up to 28 ounces for the airframe. Not good, but there's not a whole lot I can do about it. I need to set this over here. And come on now. And we'll get the Mustang out. Oh, I was asked about exhaust stacks for the Mustang. And I'm going to do them. I've been thinking about how can I do them, make them look realistic, and be light enough. Well, I got this is not maple. This is some type of ash wood or something that Tom Morris sent me, and it's light, but it's not real light. And I got dowel, and I thought about making an exhaust stack for the Merlin out of this business. Well, what I'm going to do is make an exhaust stack and pour a mold, and if I have the rubber, I don't remember whether I have any rubber left or not. Pour a mold, and then I'll mold him up some exhaust pipes like I did for my shoestring. And so that's basically in the details. And the next thing that arrived today were these Velcro straps. And after perusing, I like to make things as easy as possible when you're out at the field, and the loading of the battery seems to be a problem. You got a 440 screws and turn it upside. I don't know. So I can either make it a side loader. Of course, I changed my mind against that. We're going to make that a bottom loader and use these straps, or I'm going to come up with something else. There was one incident at the Nationals this year where the battery flew out of the nose of the airplane, and it was not a pretty sight. CG was lost, and the airplane hit the ground, and I don't know whether that airplane's been fixed or not, but in any case, it wasn't a good deal. So, let me see here. We got 17 minutes in. I'm going to run this. Oh, I want to discuss what happened to the stream last night. We lost our stream when I was asked to move the camera. From now on, there won't be any moving of the camera once the stream starts. First off, the stream is so hard to get going. It takes me probably 20 minutes to get everything adjusted, lined up, get ready to roll. Tonight I had to drop one of my pre-recorded events and start a new one so that you get this one. And it's so sensitive that if you do any little thing, it just kind of screws the whole process up. So I'm not going to be moving cameras, adjusting anything. I'm thinking that when I get the new cables, the 2.0 or whatever they are cables, I'm thinking that's going to alleviate some of the lag and some of the sensitivity of this business. I cleaned up my camera equipment today too, and you can't believe how dusty it was. So I had to go ahead and put another coat of putty on some places here, and I'm going to try to get this roughed in and finished off tonight so we can at least prime this thing tomorrow. I want to have this done or in paint the first color by the end of the weekend, because it doesn't look like I'm going to make my Christmas deadline for 5 airplanes. 4 maybe. Weather's not good here. It's kind of humid. It's not snowing yet, but let's go back, talk about the sanding that I'm doing. Now you think, well, remember I told you I use a lot of 80 grit. Well, I'm using 80 grit now to level out this super fill. And it's using the super fill is basically just like using Bondo. Except with Bondo, and I'm not sure that wouldn't work. You're using a cheese grater and grinders and power sanders or whatever. I almost think that would work with this, but I haven't tried it yet. But I might. Oh, I wanted to talk about when I steam straight. Let's look at this. I told you that this piece here would not even go on before. It was bowed in this direction. I mean, it was a hellacious bow that these magnets would not even contact the screws here. So after steaming, and I'm sorry I didn't get a video made on that, we got it straightened out, and I was hoping that it would stay straight, and so far it has. And if it does go back bowed in another coat, I'll do it again. Steam is an amazing, amazing thing. I got these wingtips sanded out. I had some issues with that, but another coat, and I also put some clear dope on it. We're going to be adding some more of that while I'm working here. So we're just basically, I'm basically massaging the bad spots as I go along. So I want to get some more dope on that so that we can fill the low spots. And I think that code will probably do it, and we'll come back with a DC 540. They didn't have any DC 540 at Napa for me. It should be in tomorrow. Well, we'll work on this spot over here. So it's all about leveling out your finish. Now this is not going to be a 20-point airplane, but I didn't build it. And you want to, when I talk about the finish starts with the first piece of wood cut, you want to make sure all these joints are tight so you don't have to fill these, and that gives you a lighter finish. But it will be a nice airplane, don't get me wrong. Go ahead and ask a question up there. We had 5, and now we're down to 3. I mean, we had 11 last night. That was a pretty good deal, I thought. This is still 60-40. I wish that I could. I mean, as I get better at screaming and getting this figured out, how to make it work, you know, things are going to go a lot easier. And I just don't want to be on here and have you watch me build. I want to, you know, have some interaction, some questions and answers. Because to watch me build would be kind of boring. But it's a little bit faster this way. Instead of, I watch Wendy's tapes, you know, and you gotta, when you see him do something on the tape, you know, well, I'll have to wait till I see him, or I gotta call him on the phone. Here, you can ask me right away. Anyway, I had super filled this, and I'm gonna have this look like plastic before it's done. There's a lot of work that goes into these airplanes before the first bit of paint goes on. And I didn't weigh this before I started. I probably should have, to see what I'm adding, but I haven't really added a whole lot of paint to it. It's more sanding than anything else. But I'm thinking tomorrow, when the primer comes in, another case, I can prime this up and we'll get it in color this weekend. Today is Wednesday. By Friday we'll get it in color. And then this weekend I'll start trimming it. Now this is a relatively easy paint job because I can prime it, the gray, and that'll be the color of the bottom. I don't have to do anything with it. And then I can just come back and put my olive drab on the top and then clear it. So that's kind of cool. We got 5 watching now. No questions. I know we're lagging behind as far as the time. By the time I'm done doing something, a minute has gone by. There's not a lot I can do about that. I'll work on that, on settings. But now that more people are tuned in, let's go back and let's talk about what we can do to help ourselves. This drone issue and the model aviation and all that, they're not going to change. They are going to continue to go after the money. It's just the way it is. there isn't enough of us to really make a stink. I do not have a Facebook page. I'm on Twitter. I closed my Facebook page when I found out Mark Zuckerberg was collecting information. So I don't need a Facebook page. You want to go to stunthanger.com. There's my Facebook page. Or Control Line Craftsman. My Facebook page is as big as, almost as big as Facebook. So that's www.stunthanger.com. And there's almost 4,500 members there. It's I'm the creator of that site. I can't really say that I own it because it's a living thing that all of us control line guys have a stake in, but it is mine. So there's you know, if you have a question and you need an answer right away, there's somebody on all the time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Within a few minutes, you'll get an answer. I mean, that may not be the answer you want, but there are, I'm going to start, I think I'm going to make a leader member category of trusted individuals. And when I mean trusted, if I am going to do that, thanks a lot. What I mean by that is individuals that I know will give you the correct answer, because you get a lot of answers on Stunt Hanger, and some of them are in no way where near the correct information. So there are some on Stunt Hanger that are real knowledgeable about this hobby. And we did a pretty good job getting that pretty smooth today. So I only have a couple of spots. Oh man, just broke that. Of course I did. Oh well, we had a little snafu I'm gonna have to fix. That's the way it goes. Here's another thing. Don't use spackle. If you're going to use spackle, make sure you put CA over the top of it. Butyrate dope softens spackle right up. So, let's see here. I want to knock down the high spots. If you look right here, there was a gap in the fillet area. I don't know what you call this. It is a fillet, but the fillet right here, the block that fills the wing to flap area, wing to fuselage, and I put some filler in there. So I'm going to take some 80 grit. And you go, God, that's ridiculous. Well, we're going to not sand the wood. We're going to just sand the putty. We don't need to be spending all day doing a project. We just sand the putty. We have it roughed in already. Then we're going to drop down to 180. The new guys that are coming on here who have never been to my channel or never been to Stunt Hanger or Control Line Craftsman, make sure you like and subscribe and share this channel with your friends. But most importantly, if you're going to subscribe to just get out tomorrow or the next day or whatever, don't subscribe. Just kind of bookmark it. I want to keep my channel. I want to get the numbers up. So if you subscribe and then unsubscribe, it makes YouTube think that I have my content is nothing to offer. And this is such a niche market of people. I mean, there's probably only in the world maybe 10,000 guys that do this. So this is definitely a dying art. And I think that the dinosaur media of the newsprint, the magazine, the way that the ads go, because this book here, if you look at it, it's 100% ads. I mean, I haven't counted the pages, but every page is a drone ad or some type of ad. I mean, ads, ads, ads. I realize that they have to cover their costs, but I'd rather not have it. I know it. Everybody is always bitching about it. I don't get to bitch that often. I always have to listen to it. I don't have to. I don't get a chance to express my opinion. So I figured I'd rant a little bit about model aviation. I hate it. But so I've resanded the fillets and redone them in a couple of spots. But the most important thing about this is just, we're not in a great big rush. I need to get it done, but you got to take your time. If you use the steps that I give, the sandpaper grits that I use, it'll go a lot faster for you. I see some people, now we have a pretty big lump there. I see some people with fear take 120 or 180 and they'll be sanding on this spot for an hour. Well, that's not how it's done. They make different grits of sandpaper to make it easy on you. So I take 80 grit and I use a lot of 80, and you just stay off the wood, because if you put the 80 grit on the wood, yeah, it's going to dig in. It'll dig some big holes. But if you stay on the putty, you'll knock the high spots down, and in a second we'll come back with the 180. And then I'm going to put some dope over the top of it to seal it. And then I'm going to come back with 320, and then we'll shoot with primer, and we're done. It ain't like it, there's no need to make an all-day project out of sanding something as small as a 1-inch spot of material. Okay, we got that. So in the details, correct sandpaper. If you look here, that dope really attacked that. I'm going to have to block that down. We're going to have a problem there. And that's from using nitrate and butyrate. I do not use nitrate. So that's that. We'll put this on it. Well, when it dries, we'll come back to sand with 320. And seal it. We'll take 2 coats on each one of those. If you look here, the camera, I don't have a way to zoom the camera in, but if you look here, the different types of dope, I think, is what's done this. It kind of looks like it had water underneath it, but you know darn well it didn't have water because they ain't used water. And that's the butyrate dope attacking the nitrate dope. I'm about 100% sure that that's the reason it's doing it. But fortunately for us, or for me, I have DC 540, and that will cure these particular instances. Now, DC 540 is what even feels rubbery. We'll sand that flat, and then I'll shoot some DC 540. I have one can here, and see we can't seal this up and get this fixed. So when I'm doing this stuff, I normally just take a small spot and work on a spot like here, like back there in the nose. And as a matter of fact, I need to get some paint on that. And we're going around this thing, and I'm detailing these spots up there. You don't have to work on one spot at a time, because as the dope's drying on this, you can be working on another spot on the back. Go ahead and put, get quite a bit on there, because we're gonna have to sand all that business off anyway. Always, when you're doing these flat surfaces, it's best to always use a block. I cheat sometimes, and I do use open hands. It's, do as I say, not as I do kind of thing. The block will give you a flatter surface. And that more or less got it off. This airplane here will probably take 8 cans of DC 540. 8 cans. 3/8, $25 worth of primer. And the amount of DC 540 you use depends on the amount of woodwork, how good the woodwork is. If the woodwork is 100% perfect, sanded with 600 or whatever before the paper went on, everything's flat, level, and smooth, it might not take any DC 540. But my vow when I'm done with these airplanes is to when you set it down and go, wow, that's really cool. I like nice looking airplanes. And I still got a high spot there where I cut that strake off. It's like the 5th time I've sanded right there. I think I'm going to have to get a body file on it. Or just not worry about it and let it go. Got a little bump in it. I just can't get that bump out. I don't know why. It must be hard glue or something there. So I get yeah, that's exactly what it was. Epoxy. Anyway, what do you guys want to talk about? It's up to you. I know you're watching. If you got a subject that you'd like me to cover, type it in the box. I'd be more than happy to cover it. Today they had a mass shooting in the area where I lived after I came out of service, San Bernardino area. I don't know the details of it. I know they're going to try to use it as a political thing, anti-gunners. I can tell you this, the safest country in the world is Switzerland. And the reason that it's the safest is everybody's armed. So my thing is, if everybody had a gun there, when they came in shooting, and they started shooting back, it wouldn't happen but once. And I'm from that area, and believe me, in the desert, waiting on cops, they showed up really, really quick. And you notice, one thing I did notice is every time there's a training exercise, something happens. Quit training, guys, because you're making something happen. I do not know why that's like that. So what I'm going to do here, I'm having an issue with the hardness of the wood. I'm going to take CA and I'm going to harden up this whole piece right here so that it's all equally hard, and we'll straighten it out from there. Because going from hard to soft, I keep and I want that to look nice. This is what I mean by details. You gotta pay attention to the little things. Because if you pay attention to all the little things, the big things are easy. Yeah, we almost got it. Please type in the area who is watching. I can't tell. Because the only reason I'm doing this is for you guys. I mean, I don't need to know how to do this. I'm just trying to pass it on. So remember, nobody on the internet is offering this type of service. Yeah, it's almost. Got some new glasses coming tomorrow. Should be able to see what I'm doing. They're like 500 power. The rhetoric has already been started from the top down, the San Bernardino shooting, no doubt. It's all BS. The gun grabbers are coming. But if they, like I said, if everybody would have had a gun there, it may not have happened. Well, that helped out considerably, getting a bump out of there, and there's one left there. This strake used to come all the way out here like this. It was huge. And I took it out because I was asked to. And on the exhaust stacks, if I have the rubber, I'll do another molding video. If you go back to my earlier videos, you can how would you save it? 320 that's turned brittle. Well, you could try to. Here's what you do. Here's what I would do. Get some newspaper. They still do make newspaper, I think. Wet the newspaper and leave it damp, the newspaper damp, put the one sheet of sandpaper between each page of the newspaper and set it in the garage. And possibly the moisture from, and it's only, I've never had that, but possibly the moisture from the newspaper would transfer to the sandpaper. Otherwise, throw it out, get some new stuff. Harbor Freight, if you're on a budget, Harbor Freight's got some cheap sandpaper deals. It's not the best. Like that paper I showed last night, it's real brittle, but it does work. I mean, if you got nothing else, you got nothing else. So now people ask me why did I do that? There was a hard spot on this backbone, and it was going from hard to soft wood, and it was every time that I sanded it, kept sanding a hoop in it, a notch. So if we make it all hard and get it cleaned up, I guess the way to see would be to shoot a little bit of primer on it, see what it looks like. We're getting close now to where I can start priming. The first coat of primer always looks like crap. Look at that big line in there. God. Sickening. For any of you guys that really have ever done this, it'll blow your mind. I mean, when the camera is really not showing the justice to this. There's a couple of grooves in there. I don't know whether that was done. Probably was done in the trailer. Then I'm going to have to fill, and I'll use the 3M spot putty stuff for that. But if you look at this, we're at least 2 or 3 days away from painting. But I got to start somewhere. I wish the hinges weren't all glued together with this. My can's empty, so at least that wasn't a full can. This is a full can here. I'm waiting on a case of DC 540. It'll be in tomorrow. They had to bring it from the main warehouse. And I can continue on with this. But if you notice, I'm just taking, like right there, I'm taking clear dope and adding it where it really needs to be thick. Well, I'm glad. Yeah, CA is the way to go when you got a big problem like that. There's all kind of tricks that if you come on my channel and you pay attention, I'll try to explain them all. But if you guys see me do something that you don't understand, all you have to do is type, because I'm watching it on my computer here, what you guys are saying. So we got, and I've sanded this once already with, first I sanded it with 180, then 320, and it's still the way out. This is like the second coat. Got to start somewhere. I'm so far behind on these. stay off the windows so I can find. I gotta sand that. But I wanted to get the spots primed up that I knew were going to be trouble spots, like this wingtip, where I. Ooh, man. Well, heck. This is not good. I got the fuzzies on here still. It still needs another coat of clear. Let's see what this looks like up here. So because I don't have a lot of DC 540, I'm just going around hitting the bad spots. If you guys were here, you could see what I'm. I don't know. The paint just attacked it. But trust me, I will get it straightened out. It'll be beautiful. It's just a pain in the ass to do. What do we got going on? What do you guys want to talk about? I talked about model aviation. I talked about the drones, the quadcopters. I talked about the shootings. That shooting stuff. You can best bet that tomorrow Obama will be on the TV whining about guns. Grandstanding. Oh, the next thing is climate control. Climate change has an effect on crime. Yeah, okay. I think you ought to bake your head in an oven. Jeez. And I think the biggest thing is climate change real? Some say yes, some say no. What does Sparky say? Well, I know that it's not getting any warmer. It's getting colder. And scientists, you can look at the internet and see that it's actually cooling off. It's not warming up. But that doesn't matter. They say that the sun plays no part in global warming. Well, guess what? The sun is the 100% reason for global warming or global cooling. And all the carbon tax in the world is not going to turn the sun off. So these guys better get a grip on things. Al Gore, it's a big money grab. That's all I see it as. So that's as I see it. You know, you guys can see it any way you like, and it doesn't much matter. Just because you don't agree with what I say or whatever, that doesn't mean that we can't be friends or whatever. Even Dennis Moritz and I had a intelligent conversation, and at least he was cordial enough to listen to my opinion. And I'll listen to the opinions of others. Doesn't mean I'm going to agree or disagree, but yeah, we're going to get it here. So now all this gets sanded back off again. Where'd all the primer go? It's on the floor. That's where it is. Put it on and sand it off. The primer is meant to sand off. If you're not sanding the primer off, all you're doing is making the airplane heavy. Good. I'm glad. I'm glad they got them. Maybe they'll be. I don't feel terrorized. It's a joke. You guys better get a grip, because When the American people get enough of that shit, they're going to drag them around the street. I can tell you that right now. God, I mean, this thing may look good on the camera, but it's always the same thing with even stuff that I build or whatever. The minute you put the first coat of primer on it, you go, God, what did I do? It doesn't look good till about the fifth or sixth coat of primer on any of the airplanes that I build. Put it on, sand it off. I'll show you a primed piece I did today. And believe it or not, this is just 2 coats of primer. That's the piece that I was working on yesterday with the 1200 sandpaper. What happened to my paper towels? Paper towels. And there. The 1200 sandpaper, and I shot 1 coat of primer on it. It laid right down, and I sanded it off, and then shot 1 coat of primer on it, and it laid right down. So sanding with those that, Jim, you have to that it takes a little practice. You don't want to sand with aggressive grit sandpaper on polyspan. You want to sand with least aggressive sandpaper, and you got to pay close attention, because as soon as you get up to it, you got to stop sanding. So it does take practice. I can sand polyspan with 80 grit as long as we're sanding in the sanding on something that'll take it, but you're using light pressure. If you use heavy pressure, it's obviously going to tear through, and then you're going to have the hairs. Is it better to... I use both. I use both. Now, I'm not a national champion, but I know I like line tension. And the only thing that's going to give you line tension overhead is engine offset. You got to point it out. There is no centrifugal force up overhead. The national guys will say, move the lead outs forward and do... No, if you want to feel line tension, you fly one of my airplanes overhead with 3 degrees motor offset, you're going to have line tension overhead. But the theories that I play with are theories from the late 50s, early 60s, 70s. Technology has changed. They're flying a lot faster nowadays. And when I say a lot faster, it's, at the Worlds, I think Paul Walker was flying a 4-something second lap, his Mustang. I can't think that fast, let alone move that fast. And yeah, you'll have line tension when you're moving that fast. And as far as rudder offset, well, anytime you add rudder offset, the airplane's going to fly in a crab. So if you have rudder offset, the airplane is going to fly in an angle this way to the circle. The motor offset the same way. It's flying in a circle. It's not flying clean. So 6 to 1, half dozen the other, depends on the conditions of the that you're going to fly in. I don't know what... I think Brett Buck uses 0, 0, 0, 0. Everything's straight. If that works for you, great. Brett Buck's won the nationals. I haven't. I don't know. So it's kind of a trial and error type thing. I like motor offset. I like rudder offset. Not a lot of rudder offset because then the airplane doesn't fly clean. And then you manipulate the lead outs, and that's all part of trimming. And trimming is a science, and you got to keep tweaking and changing things so that the airplane flies better and better. You know, when I trim an airplane, because I don't fly all that much anymore, I trim it and leave it. I'm not continually tinkering with this, that, and the other. You know, we get it trimmed, it flies halfway decent, and I fly the damn thing. I don't keep adding a BB here for tip weight or, you know, whatever. But if you watch Billy, he's always tinkering. All them guys are always tinkering. That's what you want to do. Knock yourself out. That ain't me. Nah, first hour's up. We'll go ahead and continue because I got the stream up. It seems to be working okay. And back on control line Craftsman. I'm going to wait for control line Craftsman until I get the other cables. Because what's going to happen here is I'm going to stop this stream, and it's going to be an hour or so before I get another stream back. I don't understand how that works. There must be something that I'm doing wrong. I'm not real tech savvy. I'm a 12-year-old girl is the only reason why you're watching this stream here. She knew how to fix it, and I didn't. So, what are you going to do? You can see where I use that CA to get that lump out of there to harden both surfaces up. That worked real good because now I can't feel it when I transition from spot to spot. Now, if this would have been me, I'd have tapered this fuselage more. It's kind of very flat up on top here, but I don't want to reshape everything. I think I'll end up doing it anyway, though. So these fuselage sides are 64 plywood, I believe. I'm going to have to sand into these because it doesn't look very good flat. I'm going to have to get a block on that thing. If you look right here, it's got a flat edge. It's not what the real one was. Keep shaping. When I give these back, I want the person who's getting them to go, wow, that's cool. To be happy, you know. I don't want to get back stuff that's no good. It's a shame. So you can see that I painted the DC 540. I'm tinkering around the airplane, and there's going to be a few nights working on this. And who do we have here? Extreme Planes. Extreme Planes. If you have another question, let's go ahead and ask. I'd like to know, Extreme Planes, what size airplanes are you flying? When you asked for motor offset, I should have clarified that. What size airplanes are you flying? If you're flying half-A stuff, most definitely motor offset. If you're flying pipe stuff, You know, it's kind of this, that, and the other. You know, depends on how you want to trim your airplane. The old Fox 35 stuff, the slower you want to fly, the more offset you got to have. You know, I had heard somebody say, well, they didn't used to fly 6-second laps. Well, yeah, they did. And the motor offset was ridiculous that they had in those airplanes. They'd use a 9.6 or 9.5 3/4 Gersh or torpedo prop and a Fox 35, and that thing be blubbering rich, come down over the top. And you think, God, is that thing going to quit when it turns? Brrr, brrr. Those were the days, and I kind of miss those days. You know, the patterns looked a whole lot different. I'm building a Twister Electric. Okay, for Twister Electric, I would probably at least have 1 degree motor offset. And a 1 degree motor offset would be probably around a 1/16 of an inch in propeller difference from side to side. So that's what I would do. The thing about your electric twister that is a huge advantage as far as line tension is that big slab that you have up there in the nose. It's a brick, the battery. And that concentrated weight, depending on where you place it on the airplane in relationship to the center of gravity, will give a lot of line tension. And the heavier the battery, the more line tension you're going to have. Unless you put it behind the CG. So we have a couple of spots here that I talked about where these big cracks are, and I don't want to spend a whole lot of time fixing them. So the quick fix is a 3M spot putty, and that's what I'm going to use. So with my ARF catalog here, we have our, and it's brand new, I just got it today, looked through it, and it's doing its job that it's meant to do. It will be a mixing apparatus. Actually, not mixing, but putty. So I looked through it, read Fred's article, and that's all it's worth to me. Into the trash she goes after I mix stuff with it. Darn. I'm going to have to order some more of this. This is good stuff. It's very heavy. Very heavy, so don't use much of it. And the reason that it's good stuff is the speed in which it dries. You guys want a part number on that? I get that from Amazon. About $14 a tube. At least it was the last time we bought it. Oh, it is thick paint. So, we got that I've also noticed on my demographics, some people are cutting in and cutting out, and I realized that these are not the most interesting videos that you can watch, and it's not stupid shit of a dog taking a dump or a guy juggling running chainsaws or some crap like that. Or, of course, I like watching Shug. He's good, and I hope that I get to meet him at Brodex this year. He's every kid's dream, a Ringling Brothers Barnum Bailey circus clown. A live clown. So, basically, in the details tonight, we covered model aviation, my thoughts on the world, my Thunderbolt dreaming. I haven't been working on it, I just kind of put it together. We handled some of the sanding on the Mustangs. It's going to be many more sandings on this. I have to keep sanding and keep doing. I broke my Thunderbolt while I was screwing around here, so I'm going to fix that. I broke this piece here tonight, but that's not a big deal because I was thinking about cutting it off there anyway. Oh, on the steaming, I also tonight steamed my Thunderbolt stab straight. Whether you knew it or not, it had a warp in it. I kept saying it's got a hoop in it. Well, tonight I steamed that straight, so I don't have to worry about that. Oh, get out of there. Whee! Almost dropped it on the floor. Okay, so I'll put this piece back on. If you break a piece off or whatever, if you're careful, you can get it on there without any. That's the nice thing about CA. Put it right back where it was. Don't sand it. Don't try to recut it or whatever. Put it together like a jigsaw puzzle, or wick the CA in there, and that'll be it. That's it. So, talked about this, about the use of the 1200. If you were here and saw this piece and you saw the difference between the two pieces I just was working on, of course this is a lot smaller, but it was done differently. This is just like one piece of plastic, so that's a good deal. That's all I've done on my Thunderbolt today. I've been sanding on that P51 and waiting for stuff to dry. This was just kind of daydreaming to see if I'm going to like what I'm looking at. And I am. I changed the design of this so this sits flat onto the stabilizer. And if you're going to build a P51 or P47, I suggest you follow suit. The front of it glues onto the bulkhead, F10 or whatever that is back there, fuselage 10. If you don't, it will crack. The whole airplane's going to crack right there. And it might anyway. I might reinforce it with some carbon or something. Every one that I built cracked there. And that was just so bad. But I do that a lot. I just tape things together and see if I'm going to like it. And look and think about it. What is the name of the part number of the green putty? This is a 3M product. It's called Acryl, A-C-R-Y-L green spot putty. The part number is 05096. You can buy that at Amazon. That's where I get mine from. And I think the last time I bought it, it was 13. It could be more. Everything's going up crazy. This is great because it dries so fast. It's professional body shop stuff. So let's see. I use neither of those. I make my own hinges. If you look back on my channel, and I'm not sure whether it's a live stream or not, but if you look at the Thunderbolt elevator, this is the Thunderbolt, I show exactly how these hinges work. Robart hinges, I don't like them. They're not as free as what I've built here. These are 100% free. I mean, and they're pocket hinges, meaning that the elevator sits in the leading edge of the stabilizer like this, and it rotates 50% of the flat thickness back from the leading edge so that it never comes out of the pocket. There's not going to be any need for, let me show you. I'll explain it one more time. But if you look back there, I did in my videos, I have a video, I'm not sure it's in a playlist, but it's a video on how to make blade hinges. And these hinges are made of plywood, 7-ply plywood. And this design here is something that I was told about 20 years ago and couldn't figure it out, and I just had an awakening one day on the couch, and I came upstairs and built the first set. But what it is a piece that looks like that. It has a brass eyelet in it and a piece of wire. These are the round ones. These are the second generation. These were the first generation. But the second generation is round. Brass bush, there's a piece of wire that runs in this way. If you look at the stabilizer here, you can see that it has a big 3/8 groove in it. Well, the pivot of this hinge is 50% of the thickness back, so it's 3/16 back from the leading edge. So that when you put this all together, and that's the same with the elevator horn, when you put this all together, there's zero hinge gap at any angle of the movement. No hinge gap. Zero. That means you don't have to use crappy tape or all that other shit that, and there are no freer hinges than this, period. I don't care what you say. I mean, even nylon hinges, cloth hinges aren't that free because you only have, let's see, 6 spots that are bearings. So, any questions on that? I mean, they work great. I will never go back to any other hinges except for those, ever. It's too bad that I couldn't get the steaming video going. The kitchen was just kind of too crapped up. But I did get this steam straight. It does operate correctly now. I'm sure that when I put the next coat of paint on it, it could go goofy and it might bend and warp, but we'll steam it again. And eventually, if you keep doing that, the power will come out of the wood and it'll give up and it'll stay straight. And that's just one of the things with wood. I mean, it's not just model airplanes, it's guitar building, piano building, or whatever. Why do you think a piano goes out of tune? It ain't because the wires change length. It's because the body, the piano, grows and shrinks with the weather. And that's just like the wood because it's a living instrument. Same with the guitar. So this piece is ready for paint. Been sanded, primed, about 4 times. Yes, you just epoxy those in or white glue them in, and they will never come out because it's wood on wood. So it ain't like your. My suggestion is look for in my videos for the Thunderbolt stabilizer series. I think there's about 3 of them. And I even show how I route that groove in there in a close-up in an easy way. I don't know how many guys have seen that. But that's kind of the important part is how to get all this lined up. I also showed the tool that I made. I don't know where it is. To slot the hinges. You know, everybody uses a hinge slotting tool or whatever, and I used to do it by eye and by habit. You know, I got smart and made the tool, the jig, so that they were evenly cut. Then I changed up one more thing this go around is instead of running the wood parallel like I was doing this way, I went at a 90-degree to that so that it's even stronger. And I just dreamt that up on this particular elevator. So that was a good move. So I'm trying a lot of different new things on this as I'm going along, and I hope to. I mean, there's nothing new under the sun. I didn't invent any of this stuff. I didn't. Nobody showed me how to do this stuff, but I'll guarantee it's been done before. It's a piano hinge, and I've seen the guys at the World Championships in '04 that had one piece of wire that came from the end of the wing all the way through a big flap, big old hinge. I don't know what all that stuff weighs, but you could probably do that with this, but it just would take some tinkering. So I just thought that I would do it this way. But the shout in for the RC guys. I don't want you guys to sell out the RC guys. And the reason being is, like I showed you, Tower Hobbies gave me a Christmas gift of a P-47 Thunderbolt canopy, cockpit interior, and that included the seat, the side panels, the decals. Can I use them? Probably not. However, I can use those as patterns to downsize it for my airplane. I'll just make some pieces that look just like that, and they'll be in this airplane. The canopy, I probably could use it. It would look a little cartoony. It's just a little bit too big for this airplane here, so I'm going to use the Mustang canopy modified. It fits perfect. I mean, I can't even sand one that good to fit that well. So with a few modifications from a distance, it'll look similar. our job is to, especially with the stunt plane, is just kind of give the representation of this scale model. Nothing's going to be perfect. If you want it to be perfect, you know, we're not building watches here. If you want it to be perfect, well, it's going to take some time. It's going to take some money. It's going to be heavy. But I thought that I'd interject on the RC guys. I'm going to take that dashboard they gave me. I'll show you what I'm talking about. This is a scale dashboard for a Thunderbolt. This is made of plastic. It's a little heavy. Not bad, but it's too big. It's close to the right size, but it's just, I don't know. I don't know what size this is, but it's a little too big. So I'm going to make something similar to this out of balsa wood, and I'll take this piece and put it on my scanner and reduce the size and make a decal to put on the dashboard. And then I will have the correct dashboard, and I'll be able to sell this because I haven't used it. As far as these panels go, these are the scale representations of whatever's supposed to be on there. I'm not sure. I will take and build them out of balsa wood, and I'm going to mold them on my vacuform. And that vacuform plastic is super light. The way this is, I can feel the weight of this. You can't feel the weight of vacuform plastic. This here is the bulletproof head rear, you know, back guard or whatever. The pilot seat sits on top of this. This is the floor, and these sit up this way, and the pilot seat sits on top of that. So I'm just going to use these as a you know, scale representation. And these are relatively heavy. I'd say this crap weighs probably, it's got to be at least an ounce. Let's look. Ounce and 3/4. Well, I wouldn't want to add an ounce and 3/4 to my airplane. I'll get this down to the stuff I'm going to put in this. I'll get this down to maybe 5 to 7 grams. So, and along with these pieces that they sent me some decals. Now, we had the unfortunate loss of not being able to get those parts from Tanks Hangar anymore. Those Tanks Hangar decals or stencils were the best. So I'm going to have to make my own. Here's that canopy I was telling you about, and it's just too big. It's as big as the wing cord, and there's just no way that it'd work. And these are the scale decals representations of a Thunderbolt, and I'll probably, you know, I might make some stencils with my sign cutter, sign plotter, and paint some of this trim on. I don't know. I think that Charles did a fabulous job on the P40 that he did, which was a Ringmaster, or I don't know what it was. And that other thing started out as a profile. I mean, he can do that. I should be able to make this look halfway realistic. My first one did. What do we got here? So, in the details, we're just just going back and forth on different parts. And I think that's a canopy I'm going to use, unless I can find another one. I used a 9-inch World War II canopy from SIG on my last Thunderbolt, and it was okay. It didn't look quite right. I think this is a better representation of it, and I'll probably use the P51 canopy, and it's, like I say, it's about the right size. It's absolute perfect fit. So flight times, how long should my flight be to do the beginner's pattern for an electric power on a 32? Are you a member of Stunt Hanger? I think these questions would be better asked on the forum. Yeah, there you go. Mark, you can go ahead and put the full web address in there. Let me it's in the description box down below. Enter. And they can tell you, I haven't flown the beginner pattern ever in my life. When I grew up flying stunt, it was junior, senior, open, and it was only one pattern, and there was no skill classes. So, it was either fly the pattern or don't fly at all. So what the beginner guys used to do was you go out and you just fly as much as you can. If you couldn't do the overheads or the four leaf or the hourglass, or you just went as far as you could go, and they scored you with whatever, and you ended up where you ended up. It was just for me, my first contest at Whittier and Arrows, it was just a thrill to be flying with Tom Warden and Bill Noyes and those guys. They were my heroes. So beginner pattern didn't exist. So I've never flown one, and it was all the junior, senior, open, and so I don't know. Check out the forum. Lots of help there, and a lot of people are really happy. Hey, you bet, Mark. That's exactly correct. So this particular aspect of Stunt Hanger is to enhance the forum, where you can ask me questions in a live time. I can demonstrate how I do different things. I'm seeing that the first hour, I might move the start time to 8 o'clock instead of 7 o'clock, because for some reason we don't get any real action on the chat for the first hour. And anybody that thinks it's easy to talk for an hour, come on over here and I'll set you in front of the camera without a script, and you talk for an hour about different shit. And that's why my monologue has been off the wall in some instances, all the way from the shooting in San Bernardino to this magazine. This magazine is very disappointing, but there's not much we can do, and all the complaining in the world is not going to change it. The only way to change it is to write an article and send it in. I feel that I'm not interested in writing an article. One, I'm not a very good writer. Two, I've already got enough stuff on my plate, and I think I'm contributing about as much as anybody can expect me to contribute to the hobby, where I'm the 2 forums and now the live streams and the videos. So we'll let somebody else have my spot in writing. And there are some guys out there that are very good at writing. And I guess you get paid to do this. I don't know. I don't get paid to do what I do, but I like doing it, and hopefully that we can make the hobby grow. But just about everything in here is an ARF. Now, if you look on here, this is Stan Alexander. He's got a scale project from Spain. Augustin Selva and his father, Augustin Sr., the scratch-built Ryan PT-22. It's beautiful, but it's RC. But you got to keep your minds open, So what? It's RC. Let's see how it was built. Let's see what makes it tick. Even some of this foam stuff in here. I keep looking at that stuff, and I have a hot wire over there, and one of these nights, if I get some phone, I might whip up. I tried, but it kicked out my message. What kicked out your message? Oh, I don't know. Anyway, I look at these things. I look at free flight. I look at the scale. I look at the RC. I don't look at the quadcopters. Some of these foam board things, and like this thing here. Now that's not real appealing to look at, but if you look and pay close attention, what's going on here? This is page 87. This is the building with blue foam. If you look down here and you look over here and you look at this closely, you'll see that took a lot of skill to cut those nacelles. And I don't know how it was done, and I'm going to see if I can do it. The wings, I'm pretty sure how they were done. And there's one guy from Czechoslovakia or someplace that, Ukraine or something, that if you look at that guy cutting his foam, I mean, it's unbelievable. I don't know how he did that, but, he's cutting compound curves and different shapes with a hot wire and blue foam, and man, I want to learn how to do that. Because it sure would make molding a lot easier. If you can make a foam buck, and if you have the ability to just grab a piece of foam and whack it up with a carving knife or a hot wire or what have you, and then slap on some Z-epoxy, let it dry, sand it off, and then mold balsa on it, that's the way to go. I'm not sure that, here we go again. We're talking about our magazine. Look at the E-Spirit ad here. It's an ad, but whatever. Look at that propeller on there. It's a Fila propeller, E-Spirit model. That is a beautiful piece of artwork, that propeller, and it's very hard to do. I don't know how the heck that was done, but that's beautiful. And so that's what I do. I look at things like that. But these, and here's a decal. I don't use decals, but if I wanted to use decals, you could find it right here. So there are some things that you can use. Harbor Freight, always run an ad in there, but other than that, I use it as an epoxy mixing tool. But the more bitching we do about it, the less, I mean, they're not going to do anything. It's just the way it is. Absolutely the way it is, and get over it. I don't like it, but nothing I can do about it. So anyway, I hope we've answered your questions. It will not take the web address in the comments. Ah, I see. Look, check more. CHECK, the more, show more, show more, CCTION of this video. DEO for links. That's down below. Let's see if we can see it. We got 6 watching now. I'm working on the computer, working on talking, working on the screen. Yeah, it's right underneath the video itself. It gives the date, who's watching, and the links. We got my Twitter links and stunthanger.com. So, and if it doesn't allow you to go in there, please let me know, and I'll make sure that I correct that so that everybody can find the forum, because that's really what this is ultimately about. Is we want everybody to come on over to the forum and you know, be collectively informed. So I think I'm probably going to wrap it up for the evening. I've been talking almost 2 hours now. It's been tough. More talking, less sand, and I'd rather sand than talk. But I'll try to figure out something for tomorrow night. Some topic that's useful. I don't know. I don't want you guys to waste your whole life watching me. You gotta sand. So I guess until I can figure it out, unless you guys got a topic you want to talk about, check the more section of this video for links. Yep, that's what I just said. There's quite a bit of lag here. Looks to be probably maybe 2 to 3 minutes of lag. And that's kind of annoying. And I think that's due to that cable I spoke about. I'm hoping that we can get that fixed up when my Amazon order comes. So, I believe I've had enough for the evening. Till I see you again. Oh, like, subscribe. There's a subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner. Share this video. And if you want to see us on the web, it's www.stunthanger.com. You can go either way, stunthangar.com or er.com. Those are both our addresses. Now, you can also find us on the web at clcraftsman.com or Twitter. So it's twitter.stunthanger.twitter. Send me a tweet there and I'll make sure you get on the forum somehow. It does take me a little bit of time because I have to manually approve each member for both sites. And the reason for that is the spammers. The spammers came in and before I set it up to where I have to approve, they put 5,000 posts of Viagra. And yeah, there's guys on here who need that, but I don't want to deal with it. So I check every email address and every person before I allow you on the forum. I do not sell, share, or transfer any information from Stunt Hanger to any third party. When Stunt Hanger's gone, the email addresses will be gone. They will not be shared, harvested, or whatever. I do not approve of these sites buying personal information from another website. And this site here was offered for big money to be bought from me, and That's exactly what they would have done. They'd have shut us down and harvested the emails and sent you guys all kind of crap on money schemes or Viagra or whatever. So that I don't approve that. It'll never happen. Your information is safe with me. I can't say that I can't be hacked, but it's going to be difficult. They're going to have to, take the forum down because I'm watching and I'm always watching and somebody's always watching. We got Randy Smith, computer savvy. We got Bill Little. He's very computer, he's always on. I can't say he's real computer savvy, but I got Saws. There's a lot of guys that are helping with this forum that are really knowledgeable on how things work. So I think I'm going to wrap it up for the evening. And until I see you guys have a good night, Jim. And we'll be on tomorrow night. And I got to think about the time change because we have had better play in the later hours. But see, it's getting late for me here. It's going to be 9 o'clock. Now, it doesn't seem like it's late, but I've been doing this ever since the first thing this morning. So anyway, we'll see you tomorrow. Keep flying, fair winds, tight lines. And I'll get to the live control room here. And I'm going to kill the stream. See ya.